So there's a big project underway. Can you talk a little bit about that? A cemetery project.
Yeah, I wouldn't really call it big. In perspective, there's precedence to this. There's lots of cemeteries where this happens. Actually, I'm not sure if you're familiar, like the Freeman Cemetery in Virginia. This just they just got a big grant to do a lot of work there. But I mean, just over time in history, I mean, it's not very advantageous to have to think about the casualties of the lifestyle that we live today. So yeah, it's easy to just fucking pave over.
How did you stumble upon this particular cemetery and this particular project?
That's my hood. I grew up around there, so yeah. I mean, I grew up around there, and it's I mean, I got memories of that shit. Not even knowing what that was, but it's just bad vibes, right? But specifically, I ran just working at Civic Works and running into Ron Costanza, who was an archaeologist at UB. He ended up telling the story, and we ended up working and getting it in a bunch of in different articles in the newspaper and stuff like that. Just uncovering new things about it, just peeling back different layers. I mean, I work extensively with the community association, so I mean, like the word is out about what that is. Like like people know. Like if you look up historically, like on the Baltimore Sun archives or whatever, like every 10 years a story is in there about this. So it's not a new thing. The new thing is the commemoration of it and having it acknowledged as a place, of sacred, it's a sacred place. They're trying to build a McDonald's right there and shit. It's a food depot there, But yeah, it just means something. It matters to me, It matters to all black people in the city, honestly, because like if your people was raised here, 2-3 generations back, they was probably buried there, and so that matters because literally that story's gone. So for a dude like me, or like anybody, like growing up in Baltimore, shit, like don't even know your parents and don't know your grandparents, shit like that, and their parents, like so you might know your parents and met them and shit, and like your parents knew their parents, and keep going back, all that erased. Could you imagine that? It's like what effect would they have on your granddad? What effect would they have on your dad? What effect would they have on you? Right? So that's why it's important.
Let's talk a little bit more about what it is.
Like what? What about?
A cemetery for...
I mean, there was 270 Civil War veterans buried there, Black Civil War veterans. Alan Payne, the person who Frederick Douglass came to speak at his funeral, he was the first AME owner of a church, black church. So the everyday man, the black man, was buried there. The first black lawyer in the city, the first black teachers, go down the line. The everyday black man. Yeah, like that's who's buried there.
Is buried in the parking lot where Save-A-Lot is.
Food Depot, yeah, Save-A-Lot. Oh, is it Save-A-Lot? No, it's Food Depot, yeah, and former mills and shit, yeah. But it's been a lot of things, and that's not even to tell the story of how it became that. That even that happened through city collusion.
How does that happen? How do we overlook a historic black non-sectarian cemetery? How does that happen in Baltimore?
It happens everywhere. I think because we overlook black people in general. That's the easy answer. Like I said, there's a precedent to this. I mean, I think one important thing about this is just knowing your history, right? Just know how things work. So what that means is that prior to this, I mean, I learned this through this, right? Like, I'm always out in nature and shit. I love nature, right? So I love history. So I study trees and shit. You study species, and like once you start noticing what trees are, long story short, right before cemeteries were a thing where it was capitalized upon, where would you bury your people? Do you know?
Well,
there'd be a plot of land by the house, right? For all of y'all, and you would plant a tree there, and these trees would mean something, right? So, like that. So that's how that worked. Now what the cemeteries did. But also the reason that the non-sectarian part is important is because also before that, another way that would happen is if you were connected to a sect, then of course that church would take it, right? So they would have a plot of land for that. But yeah, so this was which it was a time where this was a very commercial thing. It's just happening. These cemeteries where anybody can get buried. And it was marketed as it will be your final resting place. And your family will be able to come there and see you forever. And it was a very prestigious thing. It cost a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the other thing. This was the most prestigious black cemetery. This was the Greenmount Cemetery for black people. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Greenmount Cemetery, but
Greenmount?
Yeah. Henry Thompson's buried there. Johns Hopkins, the guy that shot Abraham Lincoln's buried there. It's right around the corner.
Booth.
Yes. So yeah, it's just history.
And yet, we're in this place where McDonald's is about to go on top of.
Yeah. I mean, specifically, what happened in a nutshell was that they went bankrupt. The owners of the land were bankrupt. Which whatever. I don't even know how that happens. But so the city had owned it, right? And then a councilman created an LLC, created a realty company, and he sold it to a connected, member of his family, like a colleague, for $100.
$100?
The entire thing, yeah.
How many acres?
I'm not sure how many acres, but I mean.
Which congressman? Or councilman?
This is in the 50s, maybe.
Oh, in the 50s, okay.
50s and 60s, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure how many acres, but I mean, it's more than like 10 city blocks. We'll say that. Like there was thousands of bodies there. Thousands of bodies. Still are thousands of bodies there. Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, like the archaeologists, the reason that it's a problem is because within 2 to 3 years there'll be bodies washing up on it. I mean, bodies and bones and shit washing up on the sidewalk right there because of water damage, corrosion.
Is the city and those involved in the project?
The city's not involved in the project.
Okay, so those involved in the project, are they prepared for bones showing up?
We don't own the property. Now, what I can
Who's
say
prepared for this to happen?
No one. Of course not. No one knows. No one cares.
You care.
Yeah. It's not important.
Why?
That's not important.
But you're having a symposium. Talk about that.
I'm not having a symposium.
So there's a symposium happening.
Yes.
So obviously, you along with some of your colleagues and other people.
The work that we've done, yes. I mean, it's just about knowing your history. Like I said, there's a gap in time because of this. You know what I'm saying? Literally.
What's the name of the cemetery?
Laurel Cemetery. Yeah. It's an incredible story though, but again, the sad part is that it's like there's a precedent for this. You know what I'm saying?
And that is?
That this happens all the time.
To
I mean, black people in particular, but it happens to all people of all races. Not all. I should say that it happens to the non-spoken for. Yeah, and also another thing that you learn through this is that you just literally where you live at could be somebody buried under there. You know what I'm saying? Like we just don't think about that shit, but we like you gotta pay attention to where you are. History. Because again, there was a time where people it was accustomed to just bury someone, in the backyard, in the basement, or whatever. Like there's plots for that. That's how it was.
What do you want people to know about the Laurel Cemetery?
Just the history of it.
What would make you happy about it? What if Terrell could have anything you wanted, as far as this cemetery is concerned? What would that look like?
Well, it's not about me. I think the idea is to have a communal acceptance and understanding of what that space means, and build out from there. Yeah, it's not about me. I'm not gonna talk about things that I may do because can't talk about that. It's in the
That's okay.
process. Yeah.
What can you talk about? What would be ideal for you?
Well,
what would make you happy?
So we commemorated the space, but I mean, ideally for me, I like to just get the word going everywhere about this. This is everywhere. This literally happens everywhere. This shit happened at Wall Street. Did you about that?
I do know that there's an ancient burial ground on Wall Street, Native American burial ground.
Fucking Central Park. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere. This is everywhere. this isn't aesthetic for me. You know, it's like it's about the story. I don't know. I think in my lifetime, I just like to see, you know, history. Like, you know, you're never gonna reinvent the wheel, right? So if you don't figure out how the wheel was made, or why it was made, or who made it, and what was their intention, you know, like there's parameters around what you do to help the world, you know, and a lot of times, you know, like you're not doing anything new, you know, like you're just doing what you're supposed to be doing, because like this is supposed to be being done, and that's how I see it. Does that make sense? You know, like it's not. There's I don't feel like I should get a pat on the back. You know what I'm saying, for doing this shit. I feel like I should be on everybody's ass who didn't do it. You know.
I get it. Anything I haven't asked you about the Laurel Cemetery project that you think is important to note?
I just think it's important to just, you know, look for more. You know, pay attention to where you are. Pay attention to surroundings. Study nature and history, because that's the only reason that we're alive. Nature and history. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know that, then what the fuck? You're just out here living in some curated world. You know.
Frederick Douglass. Talk about his connection to the cemetery.
Yeah, well, Frederick Douglass's connection to Baltimore, to me, is never talked about enough, honestly. This shit should be called Frederick Douglass some more. For real. They fucking talk about Johns Hopkins and the Calverts and the Carrolls as much as they fucking want, but never talk about Frederick Douglass. But yeah, his friend, who was, I want to say Alexander Payne, was the first black AME church owner who's buried there. Yeah, I mean, if you don't get into Frederick Douglass, we can go all the way. Yeah, you know, Frederick Douglass was the most photographed man of the 19th century. You know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah, so that's why I said, you know, this should be called Frederick Douglass tomorrow. You know, like we don't talk about him enough. He was Barack Obama already. You know what I'm saying?
Why do you think that is?
Because you can't know about him. You can't know about Frederick Douglass. Frederick Douglass broke out of slavery and whooped their ass. You can't know about him. That shit. Imagine if you knew about him when he was 5 years old, like the real story of Frederick Douglass. You know, like not the fluffed up version that they have to tell you so you don't know about him. You feel me? Just like when Martin Luther King and shit. You know, the fluffed up version of it. Like, you can't know about Frederick Douglass. He's a revolutionary. Although. And I mean, I don't blame him. I would have said no too, but you know, John Brown did hit him before that happened.
What do you mean?
John Brown called Frederick Douglass and Harriet Tubman. I think Harriet Tubman did.
Oh yeah, he called them to join him.
Yeah.
And Frederick Douglass considered it. He said no.
Hell nah, bro. I would have too. I said hell nah, bro. Told you, long game. that man could afford to go do that. You know what I'm saying? John Brown, he could afford to go sacrifice his life over some shit like that. Frederick Douglass was born a slave. He has more important things to do. You know?
So that's the original white privilege.
I mean, I would call the original white privilege Adam and Eve.
Wow.
Yeah. It's interesting.
The symposium is happening in June or July?
Oh, here you go. Sorry. The symposium is June 15th. Yes. 10 to 3. Department State Talent Center. You know. When we figured out how far back it went, just, you know, because they had never even thought about the cypress trees. I never thought about telling them. You know, I just assumed that these guys, the archaeologists and shit, had did this, you know, had thought about this already. Mm-hmm. I told them and shit. You know, we figured out that like the plot of it goes. It's so extensive. Like it goes all the way back to like this row of homes that's now on top of this place. You know, it's just incredible. It's an incredible story. It's incredible that shit can happen. It's not. It's incredible that I grew up somewhere where that happened. I'll say that, but it's not incredible that it could happen. Yeah, it happens.
Would you want that to be cordoned off and preserved?
No.
We just build on top of these bodies?
We're probably sitting on top of some bodies. But that's what I'm saying about, like, that was life before.
So a marker would be enough for you?
Well, just acknowledgement, just commemoration. You know, that like knowing about knowing about the space where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Like you know, like these things. Like as a kid when I was catching the bus in that parking lot, if I would have known that Frederick Douglass spoke right there, like what would that like how would that empower me as a person? You know. And you know, and like fucking dozens, thousands of kids, you know, like if they knew that, you know, like what today we call a hood, right, where it's like supposed to be, you know, incandescent and like, you know, no one cares about it, it's poor. If you knew what the fuck was there, you know what I'm saying, like if you knew what was there, that would matter. Only because A leads to B is to C to D. Like you would be interested in that, right? Because that's right in your pocket of life, you know. So you will be interested to find out about Alexander Payne and Frederick Douglass and the Civil War veterans, and through that learn about the Civil War, learn about abolitionists, you know, like thoroughly, not just because like in school it's in the book and shit. Like you want to learn about it thoroughly because it's in your wheelhouse. It's like you're connected to it, you know. It's not something that's out of your realm. Like that's why that shit is important to me. For the future, really.
Well, we've had a great conversation. Anything that you'd like to end this with, Terrell? I know we started with the cemetery, the Laurel Cemetery. We got into some other things.
That's how I am now.
No, but I think it's all part of it.
Absolutely.
You know, the road is long.
And vast.
You know, absolutely. So
There's lots of work to be
how
done
can I end
in
this
lots of
conversation
different
with you
arenas
and let people walk away with some knowledge and information?
How about a closing statement?
I take it.
You know, very legal. Wise man once told me never say anything that you wouldn't say in court. You know. I just think that people should just thoroughly explore themselves and understand and question every thought that they have, everything that they learn, question everything that they see, and figure out how many of those thoughts are yours. You know, how much of what you're seeing is what you're projecting onto what you're seeing. You know, just thoroughly explore themselves. I think that's where humanity in existence has went fucking crazy. You know, because there was a time where, you know, right now we'd be sitting in the little hut in the village and shit, you know, sipping on a little inebriant, right? You know, that would be the only thing that we were all day until we got hungry, you know, and then we go eat. And you know, like it's not like we're gonna walk, you know, like over there where that tree at, would be like we probably wouldn't go past that all week, you know. So yeah, like life's simple like that. Like we have overthought our ways into all this fucking craziness, which is cool, you know, because as an artist and a person that understands it, it's necessary. Because most people, this, you know, again, this don't sound good, but the statistics show it. Most people are on the second grade level of life, you know. So what you gonna do about them? You know. Yeah. So the way I see it, I'm like, look, if you need that yellow line to stay in that lane, go for it. But I'm cool. I can go around. I'm saying I know I'm good. You know, if you need that red light to stop and not get an accident, stop. Okay, watch that red light. Real shit. If you need a politician or a logo, a mascot to empower you, go for it. But I'm good back here. I go around this way and still get there. You know. So that's where we live in.
So the world is your oyster. You do.
Absolutely.
You do.
Unless you need somebody to open it for you.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know, like if you don't know how to open it, then.
How do you exist in a world that does have all of these other elements, which are also restrictions and guidelines and stoplights and detours and logos? And how do you survive in a world like that and remain you? How do you do that?
Honesty and creation and thoroughness, being very thorough and not lying to myself about what is what, you know. Being honest with myself first, yeah. And then after that, it's very freeing Because like, what do you have to lose? You know, the only thing we need in this world is money. People make the most money. They're pretty free, I'd say. You know.
Yeah.
And you know, like the one thing that I always tell people: as long as you're moving with noble intentions, don't worry. Move. Keep going. Don't look around and ask motherfuckers judging you and looking for you and asking you questions. Keep your head down. Go. Look up when you're 40. You know, see where you at, and then do it again. Look up when you're 50. You know what I'm saying? Don't keep like we don't have to examine everything we do. You know what I'm saying? We can just do it and chill. Get paid for it. You know, it's simple. But you know, I mean, a lot of things. Again, we got to justify our existence. That's the human condition. I understand that. You know, I don't know. Hey, everybody deal with that shit differently.
Yeah. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Sure.